Hi, my name is Virginia Maybe, and before I get started, I want to ask a few questions. So raise your hand if you are a runner. Whether you run once a week, once a month, you used to be a runner, okay? Now, this may come across as a dumb question, but how many of you wear a quality running shoe when you run? Okay, we all do, yeah. Now, keep your hands up if you've ever experienced a running injury. Ankle, knee, hip, tendon tears, IT bands, stress fractures, okay? What if I told you that your injuries were most likely caused by the quality running shoe that you're wearing? A little frustrating to think about. One more question. Raise your hand if you've ever ran barefoot. Okay, a couple of you. That is what I'm going to be talking to you today about is barefoot running. We know that barefoot running has been around since the beginning of man. Ancient tribes in Africa developed hunting techniques called persistence hunting, and where they would run and run and run and literally run their prey to death. There are currently Indian tribes in Mexico called the Tarahumara Indians, and this is a photograph taken by Escobar in 2009, and where these Indians currently run 100-mile races with nothing but a tire tied to their foot. It's amazing. We know that our body has this natural ability to run long distances barefoot. This book, Born to Run, written by Christopher McDougall in 2009, started this barefoot barefoot craze. And Christopher McDougall is a big guy and was always running with pain and injured. And the doctors told him that he would never be able to run without pain. And he didn't want to live with that, so he started looking up all of these different ways of running without being injured. And talks about the Tarahumara Indians in here and how we currently can run barefoot. It's our body's natural ability. If you look at this chart right here, retrieved from runningrepeats.com, a body force diagram, it shows how our bodies have a natural smooth rhythm when we run barefoot. And then when we add our running shoes, it enables our body to land more back on our heel, which chops up that smooth rhythm that we naturally have. And this leads to more injuries. Dan Lieberman, a Harvard professor who's published in Nature, wrote an article about that heel strike pattern. When you're landing back on your heel, it doesn't matter what kind of shoe protection you have, that heel strike pattern results in the majority of injuries in runners. These highly developed running shoes really have only been around the last 50 to 60 years, and we have become quite dependent on them. The shoe companies have done studies and actually have conducted their own studies so they can control the outcomes that they want to tell us what we want to hear. So we run out and buy their latest and greatest running shoe. Ben Pearl, a lead physician at Arlington Foot and Ankle, he did a study on that, on the athletic companies that are conducting their own studies to control their outcome. So the information we are getting isn't 100% accurate. Here is an example of an athletic shoe diagram retrieved off of the sportshoes.com. It's a Solomon diagram, and here it claims to have the dynamic cushion, the 4D stability, and the all-mountain terrain traction. And when we hear this, we are drawn to it, and we want to run out and buy their gear. This is supposed to be helping us prevent injuries and improving our quality of running. However, when these quality running shoes begin to break down, that's when we're getting our injuries. And I personally I've done sports all my life. I have done triathlons, duathlons, many half marathons, 180-mile relay races, marathons. I'm always looking for ways to improve my quality of running, and I know that when I would get a knee injury or a hip injury that or a pain, that it was time to go out and buy a new pair of running shoes because they were breaking down. And that gets really frustrating, especially if you're injured. It gets devastating. It appears that the benefits of barefoot running, it helps us run with our natural ability and then overall preventing injury. However, a disadvantage, a study done by Doctors Murphy, Curry, and Matkin titled Barefoot Running, Does It Prevent Injury? They do explain in there how the higher impact of barefoot running to the bone structures in your feet increase the amount of fluid that your body is producing in your bones, which on one hand is a natural ability to strengthen the bone density in your bones. However, it also increases your probability by quite a bit that you'll get a stress fracture. And they talk a lot about that in that article. So a disadvantage, that high impact can cause injuries. I personally ran barefoot for over a year, and I felt great, and I increased dramatically my distance and my terrain, and I got a stress fracture, and I was out for a couple months and had to stop running and then start all over again. And so even if you're feeling great, like you've transitioned properly and you feel great, you still have that chance of being injured. It definitely takes time to build up that stability. To transition into barefoot running, if it's something you're interested in, it must be done very properly. This illustration, retrieved off of OutsideOnline.com by Philpott in 2011, is an example of an appropriate way to transition into barefoot running. The orange right here represents your lighter running shoe or your minimalist. It doesn't have near as much traction, arch support, all that extra stuff. It's a basic lightweight running shoe. And it can also represent your barefoot running. The white here represents you wearing your regular running shoe. So no, you don't need to toss out your regular athletic shoes and just start running barefoot. You can start with a lighter weight one and slowly, after a few weeks, add a few more miles, a few more weeks, add a few more miles, till eventually you're running all of your miles in your lighter weight or barefoot running. It's very important overall to pay attention to your body, know how you're responding to it. Everybody has a different running style, different running techniques, and once you start to run barefoot, you'll learn that natural ability to run, so that even if you don't have your lighter weight one, you can still wear your regular running shoe and mimic that technique of running the way your body was naturally designed to run. To recap, we have talked about some of the advantages of barefoot running, it making your natural ability, your natural smooth motion of running, preventing injuries, and how the disadvantages of running barefoot can increase your different types of injuries. And we've also talked about proper ways for you to transition into barefoot running. Ultimately, because of the studies that have come out stating that it is beneficial for injury prevention, studies that have come out claiming that it causes injury, the only way to really know is for you to go out and look into it and try it out on your own. And I'm going to end there, and thank you for letting me speak to you today, and I'll answer any questions you might have.